That was in the Colosseum, and it was as far as they got that day, because Helen returned with Fanny. She had taken her into the upper galleries, yet the private dreams of Miss Winchelsea, already vivid and concrete enough, became now realistic in the highest degree. She figured the pleasant young man lecturing in the most edifying way to his students, herself modestly prominent as his intellectual mate and helper. She figured a refined little home with two bureaus, with white shelves of high-class books and autotypes of the pictures of Rossetti and Burne-Jones, with Morris's wallpapers and flowers in pots of beaten copper. Indeed, she figured many things. On the Pincio, the two had a few precious moments together while Helen marched Fanny off to see the Muro Torto, and he spoke at once plainly. He said he hoped their friendship was only beginning, that he already found a company very precious to him, that indeed it was more than that. He became nervous, thrusting at his glasses with trembling fingers as though he fancied his emotions made them unstable.
I should, of course, tell you things about myself. I know it rather unusual my speaking to you like this. Only our meeting has been so accidental, or providential. I'm snatching at things. I came to Rome expecting a lonely tour, and I have been so very happy. So very happy. Quite recently I found myself in a position I have dared to think. And drat.
He glanced over his shoulder and stopped. He said, "Drat!" quite instinctively, and she did not condemn him for that manly lapse into profanity. She looked and saw his friend Leonard advancing. He drew nearer, he raised his hat to Miss Winchelsea, and his smile was almost a grin.
I've been looking for you everywhere, Snooks. You promised to be on the Piazza steps half an hour ago.
Snooks! The name struck Miss Winchelsea like a blow to the face. She did not hear his reply. She thought afterwards that Leonard must have considered her the vaguest-minded person. To this day she is not sure whether she was introduced to Leonard or not, nor what she said to him. A sort of mental paralysis was upon her. Of all offensive surnames, Snooks! Helen and Fanny were returning. There were civilities, and the young men were receding. By a great effort she controlled herself to face the inquiring eyes of her friends. All that afternoon she lived the life of a heroine under the indescribable outrage of that name, chatting, observing, with Snooks gnawing at her heart. From the moment that it first rang upon her ears, the dream of her happiness was prostrate in the dust. All the refinement she had figured was ruined and defaced by that cognomen's unavoidable vulgarity. What was that refined little home to her now, spite of autotypes, Morris papers, and bureaus? Athwart it, in letters of fire, ran an indescribable inscription, Mrs. Snooks. That may seem a little thing to the reader, but consider the delicate refinement of Miss Winchelsea's mind. Be as refined as you can, and then think of writing yourself down, Snooks. She consoled herself as being addressed as Mrs. Snooks by all the people she liked least, conceived the patronymic touched with a vague quality of insult. She figured a card of grey and silver bearing Winchelsea, triumphantly effaced by an arrow, Cupid's arrow, in favour of Snooks.